on everyone, Jack here from Nothing But Tech. Welcome to another video. I feel like my last video that I made in 2015 about like the same topic, I was sick with a cold, and I'm sick again with a cold, so I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit different, but let's get right into it. Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about my goals for 2017 and kind of give an overview of what happened in 2016 with the channel, what I did in 2016, and then also answer some of your questions because I know you guys had a lot of them on Twitter. So I asked you guys on Twitter to ask me questions. My Twitter handle is MBT88YT if you want to follow me on there so you don't miss the next one. But I asked you guys to ask me questions using the hashtag AskMBT2016. And we got a lot of questions, so I'm going to pick the ones that are most relevant towards the channel and the ones that a lot of you guys want to know. Let's get into it. So Tech Everything asked, what are some tips in getting started with a YouTube channel? So my answer for that is just get started. You're going to be worried about getting the best camera or not having enough interesting products to cover. And I had that same issue when I first started, but I actually started up until I think like 1,300 subscribers. I was using the same camera, and that camera was an $180 camera. I think it was a VXR600, I believe. I still actually have that camera. It's a pretty good camera for that price point. The big issues that I had with it were that no matter how much light I provided, it still managed to like always look bland and grainy. And I tried a bunch of different lights, and even outdoors it still kind of looked like grainy and weird. And that wasn't the lights issue, that was just like the sensor not being able to pick up all that light and perform well enough. Another issue that I really didn't like about it was the fact that it didn't have that many manual controls. Like I couldn't really control the ISO, the aperture, stuff like that. It was kind of like you just put it down and shoot an auto. You could control the manual focus, but you had to do it with like an on-screen slider, and it wasn't like with a lens, obviously. So it did have its flaws, but it worked, and I used it for up until 1,300 subscribers. And some of my most popular videos were shot on that camera, like my LG G4 review shot on that camera. And this is really before I got good at using a camera, and I'm still nowhere near like amazing at using a camera, or even like good for that matter, but that was before that, so I was kind of just putting it down on a tripod and just shooting stuff, and I think that video has like 30,000 views. So it really shows you it's the content behind it and not necessarily quality of your videos. So my first tip would just be to just get started and use whatever you have. Surprisingly, smartphones actually have really great cameras now. So I would have to say that this camera, the iPhone 7 Plus, and the Pixel XL probably have better cameras than the camera I started on. So really all you need is just a camera, this little $1 tripod mount that I featured in my Tech Under a Dollar video. I'll link that video down below. But you just need this, the camera, and a really cheap tripod. You can get like a pretty good tripod for, this was like 15 bucks. And this one actually has a fluid head and really nice build. So you can use this in combination with the phone and the $1 adapter, and for around 20 bucks, you start your YouTube channel. If you don't have enough money for that, I remember in my first videos, I actually did a handheld, and that's really not recommended. If you can afford a tripod, I would spend money on a tripod, but if you can't afford a tripod or you don't have the budget for it, a big tripod like this, they sell mini tripods for like $5, and you can really start on that, and that will just help you get a stable, stationary shot. But if you have like 20 bucks to spend, this is the guy I would get. I'll link it in the description down below. So the last driving point that I would get across, as I know you guys are probably sick of hearing this topic, is that gear does not matter in the beginning. Obviously, as you progress, you want to upgrade your gear and upgrade your quality, because for me at least, I believe that videos should have good quality once you can afford to have good quality videos and once you really learn your camera. So for me, that was upgrading from the $180 camera to the 70D. That was a huge quality jump on my channel. And then from that to the A6500, another really big quality jump on the channel. And I decided that I had the money from YouTube to invest into making my videos better quality. So I decided to do that. But in the beginning, really all you need is just a good personality and interesting thoughts, and you can get a good following. And then after you get that good following, you can upgrade your gear. Alright, enough on that topic. Let's move on to question number 2. I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not even going to attempt to read it, but he wants to know, am I open to collabs, or how open to collabs am I? Another main thing, another tip really to start YouTube is collab and network with people similar to your size. So that is one point that I feel like so many people just like forget. They try to do this on their own. And in this current time, it's very, very hard to grow on your own. Yeah, there are exceptions to that rule, but it's really hard to grow on your own, and collabs are essential to growing. You get access to the person that you're collabing with audience and vice versa. What I have to say here is that, yeah, I'm always open to collabs. I do collabs all the time, and some of my other fellow YouTubers that I actually collab with are significantly bigger than me, and there's people commenting in the comments all the time that Armando brought you, or Ed brought you, or Kevin brought you, and I've been featured on all of their channels because they're awesome, but I've been featured on all those channels, and it brings a new audience, and because they have a much larger audience than I do, their new audience comes to me, and then surprisingly, even though I have a smaller audience, when I feature them in my videos, some of my audience goes to them. So really collabing and networking, I'm always open to because it's essential to growing on YouTube and expanding your audience. All right, question number 3, favorite video I made in 2016. So it's really hard to say because what happens with me is I make a video, I'm very proud of it, and then 2 weeks later I learn something new and a new technique, and I watch the 2-week-old video and I'm like, there's so much more that I could have done here. But if I had to say, regardless of some of the flaws that I now see in that video, my Google Pixel XL review is my favorite for sure because I stepped out of the studio, I shot in a different location, and the results were just a lot better. I had a better voiceover, it was easier to hear, I talked at a good speed, which I know is something I still have to work on. I just had better B-roll, and I enjoyed that video. I went with the new style in it, so if I had to pick one video from 2016 that I'm the most proud of, it's probably the Pixel XL review. Go check it out if you want. Card right here if I remember. Next question, what editing software do you use / what would you suggest? Alright, so that's a really good question actually. So when I first started just editing videos, I was with iMovie and Windows Movie Maker. But then when I started my YouTube channel like a year and a few months ago, I was already doing freelance work, so I was editing in Final Cut Pro. And I've been using that pretty much throughout, except for like a 3-month period when I tried Adobe Premiere because I felt like it had more functionality. But I eventually went back to Final Cut Pro for the speed and just like the pure performance of it. And with a few plugins that I've been able to acquire over like the few months, I have found that it produces a very similar experience to Premiere for about like half the time in exports and just a much quicker and easier experience in the timeline and stuff. So it's really just what you're used to, but if I had to recommend one, I would say Final Cut Pro if you have a Mac, because the speeds are just really, really good, and it can run really well on a Mac that doesn't have great specs, whereas Premiere will struggle a little bit. So that's what I recommend for Mac. If not, if you have like a PC, Premiere is awesome, and I would recommend just getting started in that instead of going to Vegas and then Premiere. I would just recommend just starting with Premiere. It's really an awesome program, and you can get a lot done in it. Alright, this one's actually a very good question, and this is, what is your biggest mistake in YouTube that you've made so far? And for this one's actually a very simple one. It's not uploading enough, because uploading content weekly or 2 to 3 times a week really gets you a new audience, makes your channel grow, and I really miss those opportunities. There were some times where I wouldn't post videos for like a month just because of my time. I didn't make enough time for it. I didn't have enough time for it, and I just made excuses as to why I couldn't make videos, and that's not okay. So in 2017, I'm sure to try to make 1 to 3 videos every week. I know that's going to be tough for me, but at least 1 video a week, as I said in my update video, and that's probably the biggest mistake, is not uploading content enough. Another question, how many subs did I get in just 1 year? And this actually comes from Tech Everything, and then also FHDTV, which is actually a channel that I just found like last week, and I'm loving the content so far, and I always like to help out smaller channels, so if you want to check them out, link in the description down below. Definitely worth a look from you. So for this one, I want to start this out by saying thank you, and this kind of goes into my channel goals area of this video, but I started out 2016 with 1,460 subscribers, and I'm ending it with around 18 to 19,000 subscribers, depending on when you're watching this video, or maybe more by now, but when I'm filming it, it's around 18.5K. And that number is like mind-blowing to me, and the growth in that 1 year is mind-blowing to me. Really, to answer the question, how did I gain so many subscribers? One thing is just like luck, like getting a video to a lot of views because of what time you post it, but the second thing is just continuing to improve and produce quality content on a consistent basis is kind of how you really grow your channel. Networking is another way. My good friends that I've mentioned before feature me on the channel, and that's a huge help. And just like all of that in combination, and then just having people find your channel through suggested videos and stuff, that really helped me grow this year. So I'm hoping for an even better year in 2017, but we'll get to that later. But that's kind of how I grew in 2016. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, the final question that I'm going to be answering in this video is a perfect transition. Don't even have to use one of those transition clips, although I probably will. And that's from Santiago, and he wants to know what my channel goals for 2017 are. So my goals for 2017 are as follows. I want to keep building up this interactive audience because it's been awesome being able to talk to you guys, have you guys like the videos, have the videos like immediately hit a few hundred views in just like 10 minutes. Like, that's insane, and it just shows that you guys are so interactive, and I love interacting with you guys. So I would like to keep that going in 2017. In terms of raw number goals, I think right now we're at like 600,000 views. It would be awesome to get 800,000 views to 1 million views. That's kind of the range. I'd be very happy in that range. Just want to keep seeing the views grow. In terms of subscribers, this one's kind of a long shot, but hopefully 35,000 to 45,000 subscribers by 2017. That would be really cool, and I think that if I keep pushing out videos I can make that a possibility. So that's kind of the raw number goals. But in terms of other things like experiences that I want in 2017, at the end of 2017, I would love to go to CES. I was supposed to go this year. A few things did not work out, but at the end of 2017, that's hopefully going to be where I'm at. In other news, I really want the clothing line that I started to grow and for have you guys really like it. I also want the new channel that I started, MBT Productions, to do really well and to get a lot of content out on there, alongside like smaller things like just continuing to improve my content and really feeling proud of my work and just improving my editing craft like that. Those are kind of my goals for 2017. I bet as the year goes on, I'll keep adding stuff as my ambitions grow and more. But hopefully you guys can help me achieve those goals that I just mentioned. And thank you guys all for just supporting me this year. Really means a lot. I'll catch you guys in 2017.